So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube, Dad here from YUGIOH Games, bringing you an update to the Red Eyes Black Dragon deck profile, all because of this guy here, Red Eyes Alternative Black Dragon. Now it is a very, very good card. It's not as good as its Blue Eyes counterpart, however it does actually aid the deck quite nicely, and we get it in the Mega Tins, and it is beautiful artwork with the prismatic rare, or the prismatic rarity as well. Before I get into this profile, a shout out to Lord Trent on YouTube. Basically, I came across his video of the Red Eyes deck, and there was a couple of little texts that I've picked up from inside that video, so it's quite cool to kind of integrate them in with this deck. That's actually aided it become a little bit better, so all credit where credit is due. There are a couple of little texts which I'll point out when I get to him, but I saw it in his video. I don't know if he originally came up with them, but I did see them in his video, and I thought they were really, really cool for the deck, so by all means check that out as well. With this deck, there is a lot of alternatives and a lot of kind of plays that you can make with the deck, and different builds you can kind of go with. With this build, I've tried to make it as pure as possible, so I've moved away from Guard Dragons where I can and tried to solely focus on Red Eyes himself. Now, there are a couple of little changes in the deck as well that come with the side deck and the extra deck, stuff like that, that can be made throughout the process. Without further ado, I'm going to take you through the profile, I'll show you what we've got, and I'll explain certain choices as we go. So we start off with 3 of the brand new card, and that is Red Eyes Alternative Dragon. Now, the reason I've gone with 3 of this guy is because, yes, it can be bricky because you can only special summon it once per turn. However, it is a level 7, it is a Red Eyes monster, and it is a dark. So it is nice, easy fodder for your allures, and of course your, what is it called? Where are you? Cards of the Redstone. Sorry, the name just went out of my head. Because it can be used for both of those effects, and it's very, very useful to get the draws off of it as well. Now, its main effect, which is what makes it so good, is you special summon this card from hand by tributing 1 Red Eyes monster from the hand or field. You can only special summon this card once per turn this way. If this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, target 1 level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster in your graveyard except himself and special summon it. If it was a Red Eyes Black Dragon that was special summoned, its original attack becomes doubled. So it gives you a 4800 beat over Red Eyes if it's destroyed by battle or card effect. 9 times out of 10, you are going to have to destroy it by crashing into something, but then you're bringing back a 4800 Red Eyes that's going to cause your opponent a lot of issues. As it is a Red Eyes deck, we do play triple of the Red Eyes. The only deck that I actually prefer the modern art or the newer art for the Red Eyes in. I do like the original art. I don't own them in secret, which is a bit disappointing, but it still works nicely as well. So we play 3 of this. Then one of the Lord Trent texts is triple Tingy Spirit Vishta. This of course is a level 7, it's a dark, and it can special summon itself if you A, control no monsters or no effect monsters technically, and then in the graveyard, quick effect, sorry, not quick effect, sorry. If you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can banish this card from the hand or graveyard, then target 1 card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So it's a nice little compulse if you're stuck on a Red Eyes. So if you've got a 4800 beat of Red Eyes and this is in your graveyard, you can do banish this, bounce a card, and off you go. So it's a free level 7 summon alongside this guy here, gives you instant rank 7 access and can really speed up that engine of the deck, which is really, really nice. Moving on to the next card, we do play triple Gateway Dragon. Now you can take this out if you want to go solely pure Red Eyes, but the reason I've put this in here is just to turbo out link plays. Now link plays are quite important if you want to be going for your fusion plays and the XYZ plays, because you do not want your link zone clogged up with one of those monsters. You want to be able to spread as much as you possibly can. So we play triple Gateway Dragon, which has the ability to bring out any of the following. Your Black Metal Dragon, which is incredibly important because it is a level 1, it is a Dark Dragon, so it can also be used as Pitsy, it can also be used for your Link Kuriboh as well, alongside Almirage on top of that. So you've got 3 brand new, well not brand new, but really, really powerful Link monsters that this card can go into, which extends your plays, because off of the back of linking this guy off, you then get to use his effect to search you out a Red Eyes card. So it's very, very important with what you can get on this one. And of course it can equip itself to a Red Eyes monster to give it an additional 600 attack. So the best thing about this card is you bring this down, whether you normal summon it or special summon it off of Gateway, you then get to link this away, whether you link away with Gateway to go into a Wee Witch, or whether you link it away to go even higher. Now the reason this card works out so nicely is you can actually link this off into Linkuriboh, use this effect to search out another card, which can be a Red Eyes card you want. By that point, you would have had a Link 1 of Linkuriboh, you'll have a Gateway Dragon on board as well if you've used this effect. Then if this gives you the ability to get a Red Eyes alternative on board, you've got 3 monsters on board with different names, and guess what that means, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, you get to go into an untargetable Blackluster Soldier Link 3 monster, which is incredibly powerful, especially in a deck like this. Now, that of course isn't the only main play you can make with this deck, or with this card specifically. There are a couple of other little combos that you can move further forward and can cause a lot of issues to your opponent, which is why this becomes the more important card on top of Blackstone. We then, of course, play triple Red Eyes Baby Dragon. Again, can be brought down with your Gateway Dragon. On top of that, of course, it has its good effect that if it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you special summon 1 level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck, and if you do equip this card from the graveyard to it, it gains 300 attack. If this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can add 1 level 1 dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand. But it does count as a Red Eyes monster, so you can actually sack this off to get into your alternate, and again, it is a dark monster, so it can be used with your Allure fodder. Next up, we play double Meteor Dragon Red Eyes Impact. Now, the reason we play 2 of this is because if you do play the fusion summon of going into your Meteor Dragon, of course you get the additional burn off of it. You do need to send it to the graveyard as well, and it's very, very useful and important to make that play. You can cut it down to 1 if you want, but because it is so important, you do need to be making sure you have access to this. You do not want to open both of those. It will kill the fusion play. Then moving on, we do play 2 Blackstone Legend. Of course, level 1, tribute off, bring out one of your Red Eyes monsters. Straight away, you've got additional fodder there for your alternate, which can be very, very useful as well because this doesn't treat itself as a Red Eyes card. So that can give you instant access. We're only playing it at 2 because, like I said, the Black Metal Dragon is more important as your normal summon of the build or if your 1-for-1 summon, and actually lets your plays go a little bit further than the Blackstone does, purely because if you get ashed, you're in a lot of trouble with it. Moving on to a lot of the run-offs, we've got the 1 Summon Skull just before our Archfiend play as well. The 1 Red Eyes Black Flare, of course, level 7, Dark Red Eyes monster as well, so it meets all the attributes that it needs in the deck. The 1 Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, incredibly powerful, banish, summon, keep this guy looping around and off you go. And then the 1 Red Eyes Retro Dragon as well, just for if your board does get cleared, he has the ability to kind of reset the game state and give you a lot of plays off of that. And of course, it does count as a Red Eyes, so you can trigger off your alternative from it as well. So very, very important on that card. Moving on to the spells, we do play the triple Allure of Darkness, just for your additional draw powers. We then also have triple Return of the Dragon Lords. The revival of this card plus the protection in the graveyard is incredibly powerful. The fact it doesn't just protect what it revives, it protects all your dragon monsters is incredibly important. Now, let's say, for example, your Red Eyes alternative gets destroyed, you summon out a 4800 Red Eyes monster. You can then use Return of the Dragon Lords, so let me just check the wording on this one. Yeah, because it says it must first be special summoned. Once you've summoned it correctly, you can then revive it. And then you've got an additional level 7 2400 beater on board. I'm just going to check that the Red Eyes isn't a hard once per turn summon. Let me have a look. If it's kind of bad, one level 7. So it doesn't state that you can only special summon it once per turn this way, but that means you're reviving it a different way anyway. But if you were to go for a 4800 Red Eyes, then crash that your alternate and bring back another Red Eyes at 4800, you've got 2 4800 normal Red Eyes on board with protection of a Return of Dragon Lords in graveyard as well. So this is actually very, very important, and we do of course play the Monster Reborn as well, just for generic revival on top of that. We've then got triple Red Eyes Insight. This is your Foolish Burial alongside your search of any Red Eyes spell or trap card. So it's very, very important to kind of move this play further on and search out as much as you possibly can. For the one-offs, we do have the 1 Monster Reborn, the 1 1-for-1, and I'm only playing 1 Red Eyes Fusion, purely because it is incredibly searchable, but it has such a major drawback. The drawback that you can't special summon or normal summon monsters the turn you activate this card really, really sucks. Now, one thing that I am considering, and you'll see in the extra deck, is playing or main decking Super Poly over this. The only difference between the two of those is this one sends from deck to grave, so you don't actually need to have them in hand. But of course that opens up the susceptibility of getting hit with Ash Blossom as well. Not to mention the effect where it stops you playing for the rest of the turn as well. So being able to take this out for possibly a super poly and main in 2, if not 3, also opens you up for a lot more better plays from your extra deck that can cause your opponent a lot more issues. And it's not exactly an expensive card to get from your extra deck as well. It also then means you've got additional main deck outs to stuff like Thunder Dragons and any board that wants to pump out loads of Dark Monsters, because you can then fill your extra deck with additional targets for your Super Poly, not to mention your own targets. It means you could possibly cut down the Meteor Dragon and also cut down the Summon Skull and limit your plays to going for specific targets off of your Super Poly, but that then comes down to personal preference. We've then got the 1 cards of the Redstone. Now the reason we've only got 1 of this is purely because we only have about 7 targets I believe off the top of my head if I can remember correctly. And it can get a bit inconsistent with 2. I did consider playing Pot of Extravagance in this deck because you do not rely heavily on the extra deck, and the cards that you do rely heavily on, you can bump up to 3 quite easily. So that would be obviously your Super Poly targets, your level 7 Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, and then a couple of your Link monsters as well. So you could argue that you take out the Allure of Darkness because you do a bit of searching with your Insight, and then you take out the Redstone and go in with your Pot of Extravagance. But because you've got so many cards in your main deck that can be expendable, Allure is quite useful as well. So you juggle around the ratios on that one, that if you went with Extravagance or have Extravagance to hand, you go with those, take out the Redstone, take out the Allures, but then it also means you can reduce the level of your Red Eyes monsters as well, possibly put Alternate down to 2, and lose some of the additional fodder that you don't actually need in the deck, moving it into more of like a hand trap, control, focus build as well. The only trap we run is the Return of the Red Eyes Return of the Red Eyes. Really cool, searchable as well. Constant Call of the Haunted. I'll get there eventually. The other one that I didn't have was the other Red Eyes normal trap card that revives a Red Eyes from the graveyard. The reason I haven't got that in here is because the spell card of Return of the Dragonlord is just a little bit more stronger and is a bit more fast paced. So if you're not relying on the Red Eyes fusion, you don't mind filling up your graveyard with the alternate, using your alternate fodder, putting a Red Eyes in grave, because then you can use Return of the Dragonlords to bring it back, make your level 7, and straight away you've got a Red Eyes Metal Flare Dragon ready to go. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. And like I said at the start, the extra deck again is quite susceptible to personal preference, and you can play around with it however you wish. So we do play the 2 Red Eyes Flare Metal. Incredibly powerful card, very, very fun. Burning your opponent for 500 every time. Not to mention, in this deck, it gets the most use out of it because you get to revive your Red Eyes monster from the graveyard as well. And then you revive a Red Eyes, get out an alternate and make a second one, and that's why the Link monster is so important to be using off of your Red Eyes Metal Dragon as well. And then play the 1 Big Eye. Stealing your opponent's Link monsters is always going to be funny, especially if it opens up a left and right arrow. For the other rank 7s, we do play the 1 Draco Sack, and I love to play this card here, number 76, Harmonizing, purely because it technically acts like a Call by the Grave, in the sense that, for those of you who don't know what it does, this card's attribute is also treated as each of its attached materials, so it will become a light by nature, then it will become a dark if it's got a Red Eyes attached. Also, it cannot be destroyed by the activated effects of your opponent's monsters with the same attribute. Quick effect, you can target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, detach 1 material from this card, and if you do, attach that target to this card as material. So, if they've got their Spinny in the graveyard, a Gazelle in the graveyard, anything like that, quick effect, use this effect, detach, add it, it's unaffected by fire effects, fire monster effects, and you're stealing their additional resources. So it's just a nice little tech to play around with. For the Link monsters, of course, we've got the 1 Unicorn, the 1 Phoenix, all quite straightforward on that one. And then you've got your Wee Witch Apprentice, because it all darks, giving them a nice 2900 Red Eyes. Not to mention, if you bring your Red Eyes back to 4800 and then have a Wee Witch with it, you are going to cause your opponent a heck of a lot of issues. Then, of course, we've got the 1 Link Kuriboh, the 1 Pitsy, and the 1 Almanage. Almanage is very, very useful in the sense that it can be used and abused quite nicely. Not to mention, Pitsy can also be used and abused in the sense that you make Pitsy with your Metal Dragon, then your Metal Dragon searches you out your Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, and then you banish Pitsy to bring back your Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, and then you can bring Pitsy back and move it to a zone far out of the way. And then if you go into a Link Kuriboh, straight away you've got 2 targets there, but then you need to make sure you have an additional dragon, so you can start doing its revival effect as well. It's an interesting tech. Again, Trent Lord had that on his channel. So it was an interesting choice to use. I tried to avoid going for full Guard Dragon combo, which is why I've moved away from it quite nicely. You've then got your boss monster, which is your Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. Making it untargetable, making it a constant boost of 1500 every single battle phase when it destroys a monster. Not to mention the banish effect or the double attack effect as well can actually win you games quite nicely and easily. And then you're just reviving your dragons for fun with your Return of the Dragon Lords as well to extend even further. Then for our fusion targets, we do have, of course, the one Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. This is the nice Armades of a 3200 beta. You've then got your one burner of your Meteor Black Comet Dragon. This can obviously be very, very useful in time. Plus, it is a 3500 beta that also lets you revive a Red Eyes monster as well. One normal monster, so you are going to be reviving your normal Red Eyes monster. And then, of course, the final one is, of course, your Borreload Fusion Dragon. And the reason this is so good is because it's two dark monsters, and in quick effect, you target one monster you control and one card your opponent controls, destroy both of them, and then you get to target a dark link monster in your graveyard and revive it. Now, the best thing about that is your dark link monsters are going to be your Wee Witches. It's going to be, of course, your Unicorns. There's no real dark boss monsters, but that's where your Borreloads can come into it if you want. And that is why Super Poly is so important, because this will be an additional target that you can use your own monsters for. And kind of use and abuse it the best way you possibly can. Now, obviously, the best thing about this on top of that is if you do decide to destroy your alternative with this card, so let's say you use your Red Eyes, and then you make this guy, quick effect, use this, target this, pop this, revive the Red Eyes as a 4800 beta. You've also got a 3k beta on board here, and you can just extend your plays further from there. So it's a nice little touch to the deck, but it does require the Super Poly, which at the moment in time is in the side deck. You could argue that if you wanted to, you'd go for more Super Poly targets, removing these guys here. I'd probably still keep this in as a side deck option, just because if you hit time, this can be very, very useful for you. The burn effect is very, very important, but what you've got to remember is the Red Eyes Fusion is going to be so susceptible. The fact that Ash is at 3 as well can really, really hurt this deck, which is why Super Poly might be a safer and stronger option for the deck as well. So that is it for the deck profile. Again, shout out to Trent Lord on YouTube, because obviously without him I saw a couple of nice little texts like the Vishadu, the Tenyu monster, as well as, of course, a nice little extra deck touch as well. So it's something to definitely look into. Like I said, you can go more fusion focused and put in Black Skull Dragon and stuff like that, or you kind of use and abuse the alternative Dragon's effects. Just being able to pop it by a card effect on board to then trigger and go from there. Being able to abuse this more would mean you'd have to go more rocket focused, because they do love to target their own cards and to trigger effects off. However, in this pure build, you can pump rank 7s out like no tomorrow, purely just by having like a Return of the Dragon Lords with a Red Eyes card. So for example, I'll just show you a quick little combo. Let's say we've got this, or an alternative, anything like that. We have this, and some form of revival for a dragon, anything like this, doesn't really matter. Now you normal summon this, link this off, go into Link Karibo, Alnage, Pitsy, whatever you want. Use this effect to search you out your Red Eyes, go for your normal Red Eyes. Then use this effect to tribute this off, bring this down. And then you use Return of the Dragon Lords to bring back your Red Eyes. There we go. So you would technically have, I'll just show you that one, you would technically have that, protection in the graveyard, and let's say we went for a Link Karibo. If you wanted to, you can link all 3 of these up and go into your Black Luster, that one there, or of course you leave it as it is. You leave your Link Karibo there, overlay there, go into your Red Eyes Darkness Metal. It's just a minuscule combo, nothing like game changing, but just from your normal summon plus 2 additional cards, which those cards are searchable by the way as well, apart from Return of the Dragon Lords of course, can actually extend your plays, and it shows you what the Red Eyes alternative dragon can do for the deck, and it's very, very useful. Not to mention you can also use and abuse some of the other cards as well, and maintain your normal summon on some of those. So that is it for the deck profile. I hope you liked it. I hope it's given you a couple of ideas for your one. Like I said, the Red Eyes has a lot of variation that you can play around with. The exact same thing with your Blue Eyes and of course your Dark Magician as well. There's a lot of variation that they can use and abuse, and this just kind of showcases the Red Eyes alternative Black Dragon quite nicely as well. Also, don't forget to enter our giveaway for the Gold Sark Tins. So we'll be giving away play sets or free sets, one of each of the brand new hand trap promos. The link for that video will be in the description down below. All you've got to do is go to that video, find out how to enter, very, very straightforward and simple, and go from there. Also, continue to help us reach our goal of 15,000 subscribers before the turn of the year. We've only got a couple of months left, but we are slowly crawling towards that goal. It'd be amazing. And if we hit that goal on time, I'll also do a massive giveaway for all you guys and all of our fans as well as a big celebration. But for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Let us know what you know of the build. Let us know of any kind of tech ideas that you want to put into the build as well, just to kind of improve it a little bit more. Like I said, I tried to avoid going for like a Red Eyes Guard Dragon kind of deck, in the sense that you would go 90% Guard Dragon plays with 10% Red Eyes. I've tried to make it as balanced as possible to use and abuse the original cards and the brand new alternative. But as always, like, comment, subscribe, share, and as always guys, happy dueling. What's up YouTube, Dad here from ZFWarGames. Thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, please hit that big thumbs up button in the bottom corner as well. And don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. Make sure you click that notification bell as well so you know every time one of our new videos goes up. Throughout the whole year of 2019, we're going to have more deck profiles, duels, and of course pack openings for you guys to watch and enjoy the entire year round. So stay tuned for more, and as always guys, happy dueling.